Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another video for Laughingstock Cinema, in which we are going to be breaking down some of the recent news that's come out of DC, and basically the state of the DC cinematic universe, and some of these movies that are really going to unfold within it, and I guess outside of it. So to join me today is someone you've seen on my videos on Laughingstock Media in the past, and his name is...
It's Daddy. No, it's Big D from Geekdom101. How are you?
And World of Geekdom, where he also talks about movies and good old-fashioned wrestling.
And sports. We talked about Mayweather and who's the genre that he beat? Oh yeah, Connor. That's right, Connor. Beat that jabroni.
I can't believe anyone thought it was going to go the other way, but I guess that's just kind of how it is. But there's been a lot of really interesting and straight up weird stuff coming out of DC recently with the news.
I'm a little confused, to be honest, myself, yeah.
Yeah, one of the biggest shockers I feel like has to be the news that we received that Martin Scorsese is going to be producing a standalone Joker movie that is going to be not connected to the DC cinematic universe. Now, some people are questioning whether or not it is going to be connected to Jared Leto's Joker, but from reports I've read and heard, it seems like it's going to be just like a one-shot kind of movie, like how they do with animated movies from DC normally.
That's gonna confuse a lot of people, dude. It's like the story about how the Batman trilogy that Matt Reeves is doing was not part of the DCEU, and now they're saying it is part. And then they're saying that, like, I'm hearing now they're not gonna have a Justice League 2. That's gonna be the one Justice League movie, that wasn't the original plan. So then I heard that no, they are doing Justice League 2, but in a couple years. So I'm myself very confused. Very, very confused. The DCEU is a complete dumpster fire at this point, as far as figuring out what's happening, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of that with the Justice League also comes down to the influence of Joss Whedon, because after, the personal things that happened with Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon came in and he pretty much was finishing Justice League, but also he was doing reshoots. He was kind of changing it to be his own vision, because obviously the Snyderverse is on the way out and people weren't really reacting well to it, even though I thought Watchmen was a good movie, but I think that's, separate and on its own. The thing is that when it comes down to Joss Whedon's vision, maybe he wants it to be like, okay, we're going to do it like they did with the Avengers. We're not going to do Justice League Part 2 immediately after Justice League and reveal Darkseid as the main villain or whatever. We're going to do another phase of movies, basically, like these Batman movies, these Bat Family movies that we've heard of.
We've still got Aquaman by James Wan coming out. We've got Wonder Woman 2, which just got confirmed. They're going to keep it going. It's just weird because supposedly if they drop the DCEU, they're going to keep the Wonder Woman series going like its own little branch off of it because of how successful it was. Like, they got to get their stuff together, bro. This is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that's coming up that might also change the overall state of the DCEU is the announced Flashpoint movie. To me, it seems like it's going to be a basic giant retcon movie, like for people who follow comic book movies, but not really the comic books, Days of Future Past from the X-Men, where basically, Logan went back in time and prevented the Sentinels from being created, so he completely changed the future, but he also erased, I guess, the original movies from existence. So basically, it comes down to, are they going to do that with the DC cinematic universe? And they keep saying whether or not Ben Affleck is or is not going to be in the Batman movies from Matt Reeves, which I hope he is, because I think he's a good Batman.
He's great, man. He ties everything together, I think.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty underrated as an actor. A lot of people don't like him because of Daredevil and Geely, but, he's good in a lot of other things, so whatever. It comes down to also, like, if they're going to recast him, or are they just going to, like, bring Superman, like, into a different kind of fold? Are they going to make more Man of Steel movies set in, like, this alternate Flashpoint universe? Because basically the Flashpoint event is where the Flash goes back in time and saves his mom from being killed. And by doing that, he creates an alternate timeline called Flashpoint that actually is much worse than the original universe he came from, where Thomas Wayne, Batman's dad, is actually Batman. So I kind of wonder if they're going to do something like that, and then they're going to, like, change the main cinematic universe, or maybe this Joker movie movie is going to take place in a separate timeline, and DC is going to do like two timelines at the same time, which...
Yeah, and with Flashpoint, they could do that. I mean, the thing I was kind of hoping for with Flashpoint, which is not going to happen, is that they would tie in the movies with the TV series, you know, with the Flash, Green Arrow. I think that would have been a great thing to kind of merge those shows and those movies, because the shows are beloved. Those shows are so beloved, and the idea of them taking place in a different timeline and them actually existing in the same omniverse or multiverse would be a cool thing. But that being said, one thing I did find weird is that they're going to a Flashpoint movie this soon. Like, one thing that DC's doing is they're throwing the rule book out the window. You know, conventional storytelling would tell you that if you're starting up a new cinematic universe, you kind of follow the Marvel format somewhat, which is you give every character somewhat of an origin story. You don't have to give them the entire origin story. You could do like a Spider-Man Homecoming type thing, but you would think that the first Flash story would be more about getting to know the character, whichever Flash will be the star. I mean, we don't even know who it's going to be yet, but that being said, I feel like them jumping into a major arc like Flashpoint, I think is too soon for that. You would think that would be more of a storyline for a future Flash movie and not this first one. Again, very confusing decisions here. I'm not criticizing them and saying it's going to suck. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that it's very unconventional. Not to mention that they're doing the Justice League movie before they do like the Aquaman and all that. So they're using Justice League as a platform to launch these other characters like Cyborg, Flash, and Aquaman, which I like. I mean, I like that idea. It's just, I don't know if I trust them to execute it well, because there's been so much behind the scenes turmoil and so much just changes over and over and over again. We've seen more changes coming out of DC and Warner Brothers in the past 2 months that's been talked about than ever. It's just constant something new, and I, for one, am hoping they get their stuff together, bro. I mean that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, because there's no reason why DC and their comics and their characters shouldn't be just as successful as Marvel, because, I mean, in many ways you can argue that DC has even more iconic superheroes than Marvel does.
Batman and Superman, just those two by themselves, you know what I'm saying, are a league above a lot of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's keep it real, bro. Batman's the most successful comic book character ever, you know, as far as like, you know, American comics go. And think about this, right? Matt Reeves is going to do another trilogy. So we're literally going to have, you know, people talk about how the Spider-Man saga has so many reboots. Look at Batman. We got the Adam West Batman. We got the original older Batman. I'm not even going to count those. Forget those. You got Tim Burton. You got Joe Schumacher, which is kind of a branch off of Tim Burton ones, whatever. Then you got the Nolan trilogy. Now, then you got the DCEU. Then you got the Matt Reeves trilogy. So it's like, you know, don't even try to figure out what's canon, bro. Ain't no canon. There ain't no canon.
Yeah, seriously, especially with DC. I mean, even looking at their comics, like, they always have these big retcon events like Flashpoint and Rebirth event, the New 52,
Crisis of Infinite Earths.
They have so many of these rebooting retcon events that even the comics, it's really hard to kind of keep an idea of what the real canon or continuity is if you don't like strictly follow this. And I really feel like the movies need to not become like that, because even though DC really does toy around a lot with time travel, multiverse theory, and so many different kinds of aspects that are really interesting, you can't overcomplicate your universe way too soon. And as you mentioned before as well, you know, they seem to be announcing so many movies that I don't know if they're even going to materialize, because not only do we have Wonder Woman 2 and Aquaman, we have Suicide Squad 2, Joker and Harley, Batgirl, a Nightwing movie, 3 Batman movies, Green Lantern, a possible Superman movie eventually, whatever happens after Justice League.
Man of Steel 2's been talked about for how long?
Yeah, forever. And it's just like, you know, there's a Shazam and a Black Adam movie. You know, The Rock has been talking about how he's going to play Black Adam for 20 years now, and it just hasn't happened. So, like...
Right. I firmly believe that movie's not happening. I don't think it's happening, bro. And if it does, it ain't going to be part of the DCEU. What a mess, bro. You had to remind me of the damn Black Adam thing. Jesus.
And the even more complicated part that's annoying me, that's like making my head hurt, is are all the movies announced that take place after the Flashpoint movie set in a different timeline than all the movies that we see before it?
Well, we're going to have to watch the Flashpoint movie, but boy, isn't that going to confuse some people in the future.
Yeah, I mean, even in the Batman v Superman movie, we saw Flash come back in time. So does that mean the main universe that we're watching right now is actually a different timeline from what we thought it would be? You know, like, they're already kind of mixing it up and messing it up.
Look, I just got done rewatching Terminator Genesis, and that's still, like... with Terminator Genesis, I actually did figure out the time travel stuff. The only thing that I haven't figured out is who sent the original original T-800 back to the 70s to save Sarah Connor and the T-1000. That's the one thing I still haven't figured out yet. But that being said, that's actually something else too, because I remember the scuttlebutt, again, we don't know for sure, was that when Snyder put that scene in from The Flash going back in time, that's supposed to be something that we find in Justice League, and we may actually see that in Justice League where he does it. But now that Joss Whedon came in, is he going to recut the whole movie and remove things? Like, again, it's just such a weird situation, man. Like, DC just can't get their shit together, man.
I mean, hopefully with this current lineup change, you know, with Whedon, Jeff Johns coming up, it will find a lot more solidity to it. However, I heard rumors again that Joss Whedon might actually be removing Darkseid from the Justice League movie.
That's another one I heard, that they're going to cancel Darkseid completely.
I mean, I really didn't think Darkseid being a villain this early on was a good idea to begin with, but Steppenwolf is one of his lackeys. Like, you know, that's all tying directly into Darkseid.
Yeah, because remember, the original plan was Steppenwolf was the villain for this one, Darkseid comes in at the end of this one, and we get our big Darkseid Superman fight in the next Justice League movie. Now they're saying there ain't even going to be another Justice League movie. I don't know. I don't get it.
I hope they really fix this, and that's the whole thing about this video. You know, we're hoping that the future of the DC cinematic universe is going to be a lot more solid, and I guess they're going to get everything together, but we just have to wait for this stuff to actually come out, because they can announce a million movies, but if none of them come out, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see.
But let us know your own thoughts down below in the comments section about this. Where do you see the DC cinematic universe going? Do you think all these movies are really going to come out? And, you know, which movies do you actually want to see come out? Check out Geekdom101 and World of Geekdom in the description. And as I always say, stick around, because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Unless Flashpoint ruins everything, then we have a different future. One possible future.
Flashpoint can't retcon these biceps, bitches.
There's no fate but what we make for ourselves.
Shut up, you whiny little bitch.
She's gonna blow him away. Come on, let's go. Come on.